Hey, everybody. I'm Dan McGee. Welcome to the garage. So, I thought I'd take you on a troubleshooting journey. So, this is pretty much how I go about um, trying to figure out if I can come up with a problem or an issue of doing something. So, I would say one of the most important things is to isolate the problem, figure out what that problem is, and then um, think about all the alternatives to fixing it or remedying it. So, not too long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I needed to cut some bolts like this. Actually, they were a little smaller, but cutting a bolt like that, there's a couple of different ways. That's, that's a way you could do it. We'll call that a remedy. So bolt like this or smaller, you can use these. Depending on if you're a thief or somebody that works with metal, these could be bolt cutters or lock cutters. So what you do is you put your bolt in here and you do that. But the only problem with that is, here, let's see if we can make that look a little better. Uh-oh. There we go. Attaboy. See what I did to the end of that? I destroyed it. There, it's even better. So now I gotta go over to the grinder, and I gotta grind it so it works again. All right, so you're thinking, no big deal. Would it take like less than a minute? Trying to get it. I'm not going to focus it again. You get the idea. But I ended up taking that cut off where it was like that, chisel cut, and I rounded it off so I could put a nut on it again. All right, so that's one remedy for a small bolt. Uh-oh, what happens when you got something like that? Now that's a bolt. So let's see, can we put it in here? Oh boy, that would be hard to cut. They do have these that are really long that probably would cut through that, but I don't own any and I don't plan on owning any. So now what's another thing we could do? Let's switch cameras. Let's go to camera 2. All right, yay, camera 2. Okay, so this next remedy takes a holding device, which if you're like really strong and you're an Iron Man, you could just do that. Yeah, look at that. I'm an Iron Man. Just kidding. I'd never do that. So you can put it in a vise and hopefully you won't mess up the threads. Like if I was doing this, I would probably do it like that so I wouldn't wreck the threads. But now that you got it held, you could take the hacksaw and cut it. Look at that. Whoa. But that is tedious and no fun. So let's do the little guy. This one should be funner. So let's do the little one. Look at that. Woo! Woo! So this one cut a lot better. So I'm still gonna, it's still got this little burr here, but it's 100% better than cutting them with the bolt cutters. All right, so that, my friend, is number 2. So, by the way, I'm just doing things that are in my shop. There's probably 1,000 other ways you can do this, but I'm only doing it with things that I own in my shop. So, all right, so that's number 2. What on earth is number 3? You ask, what's number 3? All right, let's go back to camera number 1. Yay, camera number 1. All right, so we're back to 1. Now, what is remedy number 3? Anyone know? Raise your hand. Anybody? Anybody? You over there. Over there, you're probably watching this on your phone. So, what do you guess? Nope, you're wrong. But, ooh, this, my friend, is a job for Hercules. Woo! All right, so this is a portable bandsaw, which is kind of like if you were to take a hacksaw and make a blade that goes around and you weld it together, and it would just keep going. Instead of me going back and forth like that, it's constantly cutting. Boom. You know, when you're doing a hacksaw, when you're pulling it back or forward, depending on how the you put the blade in, but a hacksaw only cuts in one direction, either always forward or always back. So you're wasting a lot of good strokes, if you know what I mean. All right, so let's get back to Hercules. And I know why they call it Hercules, because it's frickin' heavy as heavy. This is awesome, You can cut like a lot of stuff with it, but it's pretty freaking heavy. Let's see how long it takes to cut through a 1/2 inch bolt with this thing. Whoa, I didn't count it, but it seemed pretty fast to me. So even with clamping, bolting this to a piece of wood and clamping this down to this table, it still was bouncing around a little bit. You could look at that though. You could see how hard it is to make that thing move. So that thing has a lot of torque. Look at the cut though, man. That thing's beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful cut. Nice. Look at that. Pretty square too. All right, so that is one way of, that's number 3. Now what if we had a bandsaw that was a stationary bandsaw that cut metal? I got one that cuts wood. Here, let's walk over. I don't know if you noticed, that thing blade travels slow, but that thing had a lot of torque. Okay, here I am. Here's the bandsaw. So what you're seeing there is a mini this. This is a mini that. And this is actually small compared to a lot of bandsaws. There's bandsaws that have 36-inch wheels. This thing has, I think, maybe a 16-inch wheel. Anyhow, the point is, this is the same type of saw, except this is for cutting metal. So it travels a lot slower. It has a lot of torque though. So anyways, my next thing would be, what if we built a stand for this and mounted it? So now this is stationary, and now we don't have to lift this thing up and push it through the piece. We can have it standing up and push the piece through it. What do you think? Number 4? All right, so that's solution number 4. But solution number 4, we got to build it. All right, let's go build it. Okay, we're back to, oh, camera 1. I like camera 1. All right, so I got my thinking cap on. So now let's think. So here's the problem. I invented a new problem, trying to remedy another problem, an older problem. So if I get this built, this will be the 4th remedy. But we'll call this problem 4.1. We're going to call it 4.1. So now we need to build this thing so this thing can sit by itself. Now there's some guys that will put it in a vise, but this thing's plastic. Some of these are steel, and you can put that in a vise and it'll hold it. Well, this is not, although it's built decent, it's not built as good as like a Milwaukee or something like that. But anyhow, you would think it being called Hercules, here we go, Hercules, it would be stronger, but it's not. So we just got to deal with what we got. All right, so this is how it needs to stand, just like that. So now we can't use the vise to take measurements because we'll end up cracking the handle. So, this is my thinking thing. I got it. And I was sitting on it that whole time. So I'm going to take my stool and I'm going to clamp it to the table. Because what I'm going to do is take some wire ties and I'm going to hold it up like that with wire ties. So this is probably going to be about that far off the ground or the pedestal. So let's hang this mother up. Are you bored yet? So, in case you're wondering, this is not a how-to video. This is a what I'm going to do video. There's probably 100 guys out there on YouTube that did something similar to it. Oh, look at that. Woo! See, look at that. Look at how that hung, too. That hung almost perfect. So now, I'm going to get my level and see where we're at. Let's push this one up a little bit. This one up a little bit. Let's Check it that way. Look at that, nice. So I'm gonna call that good enough to take measurements. All right, so now we need a piece of paper. Oh. All right, so what I'm thinking is, so a lot of guys that are doing this on YouTube, they're taking this back section off. But again, this is a lot of plastic. The ones they're doing are steel, so it's a completely different way of doing it. But if you've got the Hercules one, this one works really good the way. But I think it's going to work good, because if you see the handle holds it nice. So I'm thinking of maybe coming up with something where it hangs from the handle, or if not the handle where the handle is supported by the actual machine. Cutter, bandsaw. All right, so figure we need to have the weight. The weight's going to be on this part of it, the top. And now a lot of guys are doing this too, which I don't, I don't think it's a really good idea. They're taking this thing off, and there's two bolts, little ones, that hold this on. So their remedy is to build a box and slide that thing in, and then use those two little bolts to hold this whole thing up. It definitely works, because I've seen it, but I don't want to do it that way. I think it's better doing it by the with the handle, because the handle actually is what you use to support it normally. So I'm trying to have the weight be, I want it to be held up by pretty much the way it normally would be held up. Okay, so I'm thinking we build like a support here, right there, alongside, attaching to a base right here, and then we'll have it come straight down, because I don't want to block this, because you need to take these off in order to change the blade out. Okay, so we're going to and then if we, instead of having a handle, what if we took the actual bolt out and just put a longer bolt in and made it catch between two pieces of metal or wood. I'll probably use wood, and if it doesn't seem strong enough, well, I'll redo it, make it out of metal. So the way I'm envisioning this thing will lift up, slide back, and then go into some little slots. Now this thing wants to swing back, so we're going to need to put a support in the back of this. Okay. All right, so can you see that? That's what I'm thinking. Let's do that. All right, I am going to cut off the video here because I mainly wanted to just show you my thought process on trying to figure this thing out. So I'm just going to stop it here and build this sucker. And then I'll come back and we'll see if it works. See you later. Cheers to ya. So, where we left off was we had this hanging on this. Does it look familiar? How about now? So what we came up with, we, as in me, myself, and I'm here with all my friends. I came up with this drawing. Let's see how close I was. So, not too bad, huh? That's the little marks for the little cutouts for that to go in. And I took the handle off. Handle was here. You remember that? Took that off and ran a bolt through it and hung it by where the handle used to be. Yay! Handled. You might even say I handled it. So to keep this thing, because it can pivot here, I built this little saddle out of a 2x6. So when you, no matter how much pressure you put here, not almost within reason, that saddle holds that in place. So what else I did, which is kind of clever if I do say so myself, and I just did say that by myself, is I did not cut my cord of my portable bandsaw. What I did was I made a switch box. Uncle Bezos got it from Amazon. So this is a switch, and this is like some kind of a switch hobby box. So I drilled some holes, mounted it, and put a cord through it. One in, boom. One in. One out. Comes out. Nope, no, but comes out back here. And that's it there. And now I plug it in. By the way, these are the original on and off switch. So that's on. And then there's a speed control right here, which I can get to. But this thing runs so slow, and I'm only going to be doing small stuff with it. So I'm just running it on its fastest speed. The actual trigger, which you can't see, but it's down here. I took 2 of these. They're like Velcro strips that you use for putting wires together. Okay, here's one right here, actually. Can you see it? I took 2 of these and wrapped it around the trigger switch down here. So the trigger switch is always on. So what turns it on and off now is this. All right. Did I forget anything? And I painted it cool green. Actually, it's called hammered green. But on plywood, it doesn't look so hammered. Oh, check this out. Look at the table. Whoa. From this to this. Nice. 3/8 aluminum. Yeah. And the only thing that's these 2 little bolts are supporting is the actual table itself. Now, I don't know if you guys and gals or space aliens, no gender implied, know that you can cut aluminum with wood cutting blades. As long as they're high-speed steel or above. Mine are all carbide, but anyways, it cuts through aluminum like butter. But the chips are pretty hot, so just be careful of that, and obviously wear some glasses because they're going to come off the saw sharp and hot, like I would like to be someday, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right, what do you think? Want to try it out? Let's see if it cuts. It looks awesome. Let's see if it cuts. Here, let's do the big boy. Do the big boy. Okay, did I plug it back in? Yeah, I think so. All right. It's not even hot. It's warm, but not hot. If you were to grind this thing, because I got a grinder that you could cut off like a cutoff wheel, this thing would be like hot, hot, hot. Oh, don't, let's dip it. All right. So we'll say Remedy 4.1 is done. So 4.1 feeds Remedy 4, which is cutting bolts with a bandsaw. All right. I know, like I said, there's probably 100 other ways to cut bolts and metal, but not in this garage, there isn't. All right. Let's end it there. Finally. Look at that. I'm gonna do one of those YouTube things where I point and go, yeah, check it out. Woo! Cheers to you. Have a good night or day or whatever you're doing. All right, bye.